You look like shit. And I don't mean that as a metaphor. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm going by here.
Oh, come on, Jean. It looks like it's been a rough week on him.
It's not just this week. What you want?
There's something about this guy that matches with a face in your head. A similar but different face. He might be wearing a disguise.
Yes, it's a hobby of mine.
As if waiting for some kind of reaction or response. Something to click. It's not happening though. Who is this guy?
About what? You don't look like a cop. You know what you look like? Yeah, sort of. Okay, I get the reference. Like after he got run over or something.
He didn't answer your question.
No.
The man in sunglasses nods.
Watch out for yourself, loser.
That voice, so very familiar. Did you hear it when calling to your station and reporting your badge missing?
Oh, really? I wonder where. That's the where you remember me from? You don't say. Goodbye then. The voice thing was a coincidence. Run along, asshole. Again? I can't believe this shit.
There's something that...
Again? I can't believe this shit.
You know what it is. It's like the two of you know each other. Just ask him.
Oh, I definitely know you from somewhere.
Another life.
Yes, from another life. A different life. Maybe the life of a police officer belonging to the ranks of the... To what station do you think you would belong in this alternate and totally fictional reality?
He seems to be observing you through the reflective glass of his eyewear. There's no reply. Perhaps repeat it?
That's exactly right. Down to a fraction. I don't even know what to say to that. What is your goddamn station?
I think even in this fictional reality, the 57th would still be my station.
My condolences. Go ahead. Have another guess. Okay. That's plausible. That's entirely plausible. Now we're really getting somewhere. Somewhere good. Okay.
Handsome. Strong. Like one of those military types. Yes, but he was speaking to someone on his earpiece. Yes, you know those tiny speaker microphones that fancy security guards sometimes wear. Just reporting back whatever I was telling him. Oh, let me think. He had an accent. He sounded like one of those mercenaries. He sounded vaguely Oranese. No, not vaguely, scratch that. He sounded definitely Oranese. Sure. Anything else on your mind? You did? And how did you like him? Ah, shoot. Why not? A visitor from the first world. He's not like you and me, gendarme. He can always return. To his opportunities in Occident, sur la clé. Still, his coming and going brings some life to the village. Or is it just money? I don't know. Friends, I told you. Sunday friends. Friends who like to get together from time to time. That he won't be there when times get tough, I guess. It is. On Sundays. He has keys. And he likes the view. To the sea, I mean. Hmm? What about me, gendarme? You can keep it. I don't mind. I can appreciate beauty when I see it. Blend in where? At Carnival? Bye-bye, gendarme. Hi again, gendarme.
It's the sports.
Hi again, gendarme. Hi again, gendarme.
It's the sport.
Hi again, gendarme.
Could he be a member of the homosexual underground? Just pointing it out. We're not talking about some kind of cult with members here. You made it up.
The homosexual underground?
A rusting control panel with loose wires dangling out from the hole where an indicator light used to be, and a mechanical lever sitting in the middle. You grab the handle and pull the lever up. As soon as the metal connects against the contact pins, you hear a loud clunk. Then, the water lock starts moving.
Okay, if we ever need to get to the coast, then this is the way. But please, contain your wanderlust for now. I don't want us to get sidetracked, not with everything that's going on.
Focus on one thing, achieve it, then the next, he thinks. Rust peels off the bent iron posts of the swing. The wind whistles through the skeleton of the small house behind you. There's desolation everywhere.
In this yard?
He's assessing the situation. How long ago was it abandoned?
Someone thought they could have a summer house in a bloc obscur, for cheap. It didn't work out. They abandoned it about a decade ago. A black bloc, a part of the city left unrenovated after the war, or one that has fallen to gang violence, or has become inhospitable in some other way.
On aerial photos, block obscures look like dark squares, hence their name.
Practically, it's not an official term in any way, but look around. No sewage, broken power lines, crime, drums. Life is tough in the blocks. It's no place to build a summer house. Yes, for you to scavenge like a post-apocalyptic scavenger who collects trash and errant magnesium blisters.
It's not meant as nagging, just an observation.
We should move. I don't think we will solve the murder with forays into the urban hinterland, at least in this phase of the investigation.
worn and beaten wooden planks of the bench do not look overly comforting.
We can sit on benches after we've solved the murder. Let's go.
You can revisit the bench if you ever need to pass the time.
These are some wonderfully regular pants. Not too tight, not too loose, moderate in every sense. You'll blend right in at some pleasant dinner party. I know you do. These Inter-Isolari pants are like wearing a perfect compromise in your nether regions. No one will call the moral intern on you like this, that's for sure. You're a little more moralist now, buddy. A little more normal, even if you didn't want to be. Makes sense. This is what wearing boring office trousers does to you. Great news. The boat is big enough for a grown man like you to fit underneath it in a supine position.
Huh? Sarcastic self-pity is not what we need at this moment, officer. I understand the situation looks grim, but we must continue with our investigation.
You have a home somewhere. All cops do. When this is done, you can return. This is it, the scene of the party, the fire pit. Cigarettes and empty bottles all evidence it. Looks like they were here a while, judging from all the bottles. The sunken motor carriage provided them a focal point, like a goose ice sculpture or a chocolate fountain. banged-up motor carriage lies half submerged in the icy water, slowly sinking into the Insulindian Ocean. Only the cabin top, rear wheels, and the engine remain visible. It must be cold and lonely down there in the icy water. Remember the tire tracks in Martinez? This is where they were leading.
It appears to be so. I agree. We should definitely investigate.
You get a sudden, sinking feeling. Stomach acid comes up as you look at the motor carriage in the deep, dark, cold water. The motor carriage is properly stuck in the ice. Getting it out would require a team of specialists. The logo is too deep in the murky water. You can't make it out, but you do see a monkfish float by.
The ice hasn't closed around the vehicle yet. My guess is it's been here since last Saturday or Sunday.
The estimate is correct. The incident probably occurred on A massive pit opens up in your stomach, and the most terrible feeling comes over you. No. Just nope. Say no to this, Harry.
I'm afraid so, yes. It looks like you started in front of the whirling, jumped over the canal, and then drove your vehicle in the sea right here. Of whom? I don't think so. If anything, you were probably drunk. Detective, we don't. A rescue operation really isn't viable at this point. That is very unlikely. All the electrics are toast. That goes for the electromagnetic steering and brake systems as well. You'd be lucky to find one undamaged component in there. In a few months, there will be nothing but rust left of this vehicle. It'll be cheaper to buy a new one. Well, not cheaper. This motor carriage costs 40,000 real. But in the long run, it still makes more sense to buy a new machine than try to refurbish this. Let's face it, this is a substantial loss to your district's budget. I mean, my station only has 4 other vehicles in addition to my kinema.
This was 20% of the station's vehicular budget.
Well, it isn't. It's you. I'm very sorry. People are more valuable than machines. Training a police officer is even more costly.
The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and doesn't say anything. There is also a 4th thing you've lost. More precious than the gun, the badge, and the motor carriage combined. Lost forever into the deepest of seas.
You can still whistle. Besides, the night is always darkest before the dawn. I'm afraid it will have to be there like that for many years. Look at it. Parts of it might be salvageable, but overall, this machine is a write-off. Yes, let's go take a look.
Police badge on which you see the photo of a man. You. Some seaweed is stuck to the back.
At least something good came out of all this.
Encased between 2 durable plastic sheets is a bluish card with lines of information and a watermark in the shape of the street grid of Revachol West. You see a photo, a name, a rank, a document number, the date of issue, and in the lower right corner, your precinct. The man keeps winking at you with his green-gray eyes. The photo is old, no doubt about that. But the badge is new. You used an old photo for a new badge. 8, maybe 10 years. The guy in the picture is rather good looking. He's got a nice haircut and is distinctly lacking in massive sideburns. What do you think? His face is already contorted by the expression, although it looks less grotesque on him than it does on you now. The badge in your hand shines as you rotate it, catching light. You see lines of information on it, and a shining watermark.
Harrier, That's long for Harry. So you are Harry. Everard was half right. Probably not a lot of people know your full name. Whoever told him you're Harry Dubois didn't. It's a wartime name, revolutionary. The kind mothers give their sons during troubled times, like Undying or Boxer or Ironhide.
A name like armor.
Why? It's a cool name. I like it. Besides, you're Harry anyway. No one's ever called Harrier.
He's not going to call you Harrier. He'll keep calling you officer when he's angry with you, and detective when he's not. The badge in your hands shines as you rotate it, catching light. You see lines of information.
Lieutenant W. Freighter. The lieutenant is a rank above sergeant and below captain. It's the highest rank in the RCM that still does field work. I am a lieutenant. The title of Freighter is added to your rank when you decline a promotion to a higher rank. In your case, captain. You have declined twice, thus you're double Freighter. There are many reasons one would do this. The rank above you in your precinct's décomptage might be taken, or sometimes promoted officers do not want to replace their superiors out of respect. And sometimes they just prefer the type of police work available to their current rank, in your case, lieutenant.
Heavy-duty case-solving machine.
Décomptage is the hierarchical system employed by the Revachol citizens' militia. It means counting down to twos.
The countdown is modeled after the dual leadership system employed by the left during the revolution, which in turn was developed by last-century experimental psychologists in the University of Königstein.
The lowest rank is junior officer, usually teenagers. Then there are the patrol officers, then sergeants, lieutenants, and then a captain. That's basically it, except for a few kings. Kings like satellite officers and the additional freighter rank I already explained.
The long and short of it is, you're his superior.
You are given the title of satellite officer if your partner is quickly promoted through the ranks and you rise with him. You don't seem to be a satellite. My pleasure. Yes, apparently you've had a rather successful career in the past, and this leads me to believe maybe your current situation is only temporary. People have been through wars and gotten back on their feet, Lieutenant W. Freighter.
Such a small yet precious thing. Expensive paper caught between thick plastic, like a fly in amber. It reads,
That's just the serial number. Revachol, Jamrock, Precinct 41, with some numbers thrown in there for good measure.
the numbers are not there for good measure. They have an administrative purpose, one that's unfortunately been erased from your memory.
4 months ago. I'm guessing that's when you were promoted to the rank of Lieutenant W. Freighter. A new badge usually comes with a new rank. You seem to have been doing well then.
You're pretty sure you weren't doing well, but better? Probably yes. A lot can happen in 4 months, especially in winter. The winters are never easy on you, of that you are sure.
Yes, it's the designation of your precinct. 41, like mine says 57. The 57th is mostly industrial harbor, a lot of asphalt. The 41st is... it's a tough station to work in. You have all of Jamrock to cover. That district should have 3 precincts, but money is what it is.
It's no wonder you are like you are, he thinks. But then again...
But then again, it's a legendary district, and a hell of a station too. It must be an honor and a curse to work with people like Price, McCoy, Berdiaeva.
Roberts, Feuerbach, Dimitri. Suddenly, names from your decomptage flash in your forebrain. And you? Is it an honor to work with you? Don't ask him, ask yourself. The badge in your hand shines as you rotate it, catching light. The portal reel is just what you needed. The reel's attached to the apparatus with a satisfying click. The tape is routed behind the magnetic reader. You press the large button marked Commencer, and the tape starts spinning. There's a small delay before the song starts playing. It sounds like someone's moving in the room, getting comfortable. Then the organ starts playing a simple, melancholic tune echoing in the hallway. A lone singing voice joins in, telling you about the tiniest church in Cessons, surrounded by even tinier yard. You almost feel the seaside mist on your skin. It's mega sad. Within seconds you know, this is the one, the real shit you've been looking for. The one you trust your room to that Claudia told you about. Perform it. A click, then silence for a bit. Then the tape stops spinning.
You've graduated to Lawbringer now?
Men with authority have their quirks. Comes with never being second-guessed about anything. So what brings you here, Lawbringer? A fishing village on the seashore. This place doesn't really have a name. It's sometimes called Illisible. The sign on the street leading here is illegible. Has been since they built this place. The name is Lillian. People call me Netpicker. I think I've...
Indeed, you're always confused as to your whereabouts.
Let's see. Who are you looking for? I don't think I know what these are. Care to elaborate? Aha! Like snowmen. Two odd guys have been wandering around here, nose in sand, talking nonsense about snowmen and the like. Right. Not only snowmen, also green men, monkey men burning rhinos. You get the picture.
Oh, you're getting it. And it is gorgeous.
Don't really know. Further down the peninsula, I guess. I mean, that's where they were heading. Who else are you looking for besides snowmen? Well, how can I assist you then, officer? For you? This says by signing, I agree to living with construction noise. What exactly is the Union building? What a nice idea. Wouldn't have thought that...
She sounds incredulous about the niceness of the idea.
that Everard and the Union have nice plans for anything. I thought they only cared about themselves. Well, I guess Union members have children too.
And those members have a vote when electing the head of the local chapter.
Aye. Why not? Fine. Here you go. You're welcome. Like I said, fish mostly. Sail the waves, take care of the kids, pick nets. Right now I'm tarring a little skiff. I sell the fish to people in the Delta to serve at their fancy restaurants. Authentic Insular Indian cuisine. Sometimes I also walk to the beach to see what the sea has given up. The sea is full of surprises.
Keep it professional, man. Don't make it sound like you're hitting on her.
Wood, pieces of glass. Every once in a while we see dead bodies. Human, animal, fish, other odd sea creatures. A mine washed ashore once. Bottles, drugs also. Lost cargo in general. Most of the time it's just wood and glass.
All right. Major choice moment. You only get to ask one thing. It would be weird to say them all. Choose wisely.
Well, the RCM has to wait for another one, because some army folks came by, took it in the middle of the bay and blew it up. The blast was surprisingly timid for such a huge spiky thing. Unfortunately, the factory sold this one with a 3-year warranty instead of a story. It's to intimidate folks, mostly. Not really. I know some basic moves, and I know it sure as hell beats a knife when you're in a tough spot. It's a regular mass-produced sword, like a shovel or an axe. Nothing fancy, just for intimidation. From time to time, people need a lesson in respect. That's just the way it is. Back in the day, I caught the eyes of many men. And believe me, men need a lesson in manners from time to time. No, I'm afraid not. Attempting to confiscate the blade I used to keep these animals in check would put me in an early grave. What makes you think we haven't? The truth is that almost everyone in this life is scared and tired and stupid and too dull for that. That goes for men too. But they put on an act for us. Pretend like everything's good and living in shit doesn't bother them. Like anyone falls for that. Oh? Believe me, everyone here is a proper man. Must be something about poverty that makes all the men real. Some went to patch their wounds, their lesson learned. Others were more thick-headed. And one of them, I ended up marrying. Guess I enjoyed the way he bled.
If it is, then why the melancholy?
Gone.
It absolutely does not. We are not going to look for him.
No. There's nothing to find. He's dead. Lost to the waves. He didn't respect the sea. Went out there drunk like a skunk, and sure enough, one day the boat was found floating empty. The bloated corpse turned up 2 weeks later. Now, before you tell me how sorry you are for my loss, know that it was 4 years ago, and I've moved on. There's only so much mourning you can do for a drunk with sinewy muscles. Us working folk don't have the luxury to be bedsick with melancholy. I buried him, mourned for an appropriate amount of time, and went on. Life didn't really change that much for me and the kids.
This is neither a touchy nor a very interesting topic for her.
Sure is. The sun, I call her, coated with a fresh layer of tar just yesterday. It'll take some time for it to dry, assuming the sunny days continue.
reaching from one corner to the other. A scattering of bullet holes is spread across the cracked wall. A row of ghostly shades stand facing the wall. There are many of them, a dozen at least, their heads lowered and eyes blindfolded. It's quiet. No sound, no movement. 10 meters away, other shades are lined up in an orderly manner, automatic rifles primed. A gust of wind blows by. The coats of the firing squad flap slowly in the breeze. A single person stands on the side. The morning sun rises beyond the horizon, radiating the first light of the day. The order was carried out at dawn. A long time has passed since the moment of this fusillading. Rain and brine have since washed all the blood away. Not a trace remains. The abundance of bullet holes leads to two options. Either an inordinate amount of executions were performed here, or they did not use a conscience round, where only one soldier has the loaded rifle. Looks like this was a mass execution with everyone fully armed. A host of men, probably in everyday clothes, ragged from the conflict and covered in dust. They were not sitting, a common practice for executions in some nations, as demonstrated by the height level of the bullet holes. They stand, facing the wall. It's impossible to discern any details about their personality or background. Ordinary people, familiar, each and every one of them. Comrades, the forsaken, the wretched, who tried to rise against the horrors of the world. 7 men in combat uniforms and dark coats, holding automatic rifles aimed at the people. Soldiers from some side, but from which one? Men of duty, dark duty. Murderers, twisted by orders, young boys forced into killing. The commandant, the one who gives the order. Machine gun fire crackling through the air, the lights of the muzzle flashes dancing on his face.
I don't know. I don't know who died here, lined up beside that horrible wall. It could have been any of the parties involved in the revolution. Perhaps the ones executed here were the loyalist conservatives, killed by the communists at the start of the Civil War. Or it could have been the communists, put to death during the last stretch of the conflict by the coalition forces. It could even have been the employees of the failed R&D center down the coast, as their building was taken over by the revolutionaries.
Or maybe...
Yeah, it's very unlikely the coalition forces were the ones who died here. They were always the last ones against the wall. To be honest, if a coalition member was anyone in this situation, it was the commandant, the superior giving the orders.
A cold sea wind blows away. That patch of reeds over there, it's a great place to hide something. Kind of out of the way, being so close to the water. You don't have a reason to. Yet. Nothing. Just a hunch. The hunch passes, leaving you there, by the old boy bobbing in the water. Time to go. is hard. This jacket spent at least a day baking in the sun. Who knows what happened to it then? It's too late. You've already thought about it, and now your hands are covered in muck. Now you're just flicking that shit everywhere. This is a disaster. You'll never get the smell out. The smell, it's awful and familiar. Don't be naive. Don't you recognize it? That hideous pungency, that faintly cloying sweetness. Only death smells like that. Something cold wakes in the pit of your stomach. Fear, the signs of decaying meat. It announces itself from 24 meters away. A warning, a memento mori. The lieutenant has already brought a handkerchief to his nose. There's some tear, an empty cigarette package, and a crumpled kebab wrapper in the trash bin. 2 empty bottles of Tallulah vodka and a can of black potent porter is all you find. No, there's more in there. Livis strawberry liquor, plus some Pilsner bottles too. Better not pick them up. They seem unhygienic.
A tragedy.
Whoever tossed it here was a heavy smoker. The brand name reads Red Astra. Red Astra is the black market version of Astra cigarettes, known for their high tar content. You see traces of mayonnaise and ketchup on it, as well as a tomato wedge. The wrapper reads Shish Kebab Revachol. It's no older than a day or two. No mold yet. It's hard to concentrate in the smell. The sea air brings some relief. A man lies on the boardwalk, his limbs bent and neck turned at an unnatural angle. Right next to him is an empty bottle of spirits. In his cramped hand, a chewing gum wrapper. The smell is not as bad as a 2-week-old corpse, but it's definitely heading there.
Hold on. Lividity is faintly pronounced. Whoever this is has been dead for 2 days. No longer. We need to investigate.
Another dead body. This is your job. Steel yourself. Calm now. Carefully. Just another day. Just another dead body. Breathe. He's wearing mud-caked boots, beige trousers, and an old brown leather jacket with a bright blue lining. There are traces of kebab sauce on his chest. The leather jacket suits him well. It must be custom made. You find some sunflower seeds and a rain-soaked library card folded into 2. His jacket feels sodden and heavy under your hand.
Good. We should take a look at that library card after this is done.
The man has fallen through a crack in the boardwalk and hit his head against the metal bench. Coagulated blood covers his black hair. One of his feet is still dangling through the hole. A bad fall. It might have been dark outside. This place is a minefield in the dark. When damp, these boards are really slippery. Even a sober man could lose their balance here. His expression is dull, like the sea behind him. Drops of water shining on his moustache. His eyes, empty and wide, look frightening in their frozen gaze. Height, 170 to 175 centimeters. Curly hair, stout build. Age, approximately 50 to 60 years. There's some dried blood on the metal bench, right where the corpse's head rests. The floorboards are rotten and slippery wet around the hole. An empty bottle lies nearby. A chewing gum wrapper is clutched in his fist. Be very, very careful where you step here. A dried chunk of blood covers the hair at the back of his head. An open wound. It's sticky and cold to your touch. This is what killed him.
I don't see any other major wounds, do you? Seems like the head wound was fatal. It's exactly the shape of the bench.
They screech under your feet ominously. It's hard to say whether the dead man's weight was the cause of the boardwalk to break. It definitely looks fragile. You see waves churning below. Something cracks beneath your feet. He could have easily disappeared into the sea through that hole, and you would have never found him. A .75-liter Tallulah vodka with its cap missing. There's hardly anything left inside.
Tear all around us. I'd prefer if you didn't collect them this time. It's not proper.
True. It feels disrespectful. Grabowski spearmint chewing gum. Green leaves on the cover. The man's mouth is half agape from the terror of the fall. The blackness of death. Stench. You think you see white chewing gum too. Confirmed. Nearly the whole pack is there. Solidified on his lower rear teeth.
He ate the whole pack, right? It's to cover the smell of alcohol before going home. The worst thing, I've seen it before. Almost the same scenario. Even the chewing gum. It's always the same.
The entire boardwalk creaks in the wind as you take a step back.
Looks like one of the locals. He'd have to know this spot to come here. You don't just walk over here. But that's just a lazy assumption. What do you think?
This is an omen, a sign from above. Don't start drinking again.
We do know that he was married. But you're right. Let's not run ahead. For now, all we know is that he's an unidentified middle-aged man found dead on the Martinez boardwalk. Death by misadventure. He slipped and fell through the boardwalk. A truly unfortunate accident. If it wouldn't have been for that bench, he'd be alive. They'll seal this place off after the news reaches the coalition officials. I doubt that they have enough resources to actually repair the boardwalk. Not that sealing it off would keep anyone away. All it does is keep the city council's hands clean. What about it? The deceased ate some kebab. It's probably from a nearby place, maybe in the box.
Sometimes a kebab is just a kebab.
Oh yes. Some symptoms of acute alcohol poisoning could have definitely played a role here. Severe confusion, respiratory depression, unpredictable behavior. But I think that death arrived through head trauma, not liver failure. No, I don't see anything that points in that direction. For now, let's treat this case as a simple, albeit sad, accident, unrelated to the murder case.
Agreed. If this somehow converges later, why not? but keep it simple for now.
It does seem to be a pretty straightforward misadventure, although there's still a question of identifying the body. From where I stand, I can see two options. We either take the case and follow the leads to identify the body on our own, or we report back to the station and leave this for our colleagues to handle. Alright, we should first examine the library card you found. Then we can call the station from Mike and Emma. Let them know we are taking the case.